Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start our EDUCA DPS podcast. Today, our topic is bullying prevention. Before we start, I want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor, DS America, the suppliers of agile furniture for our schools. Together, we are creating future-ready learning environments where comfort, choice, and engagement drive every student's success. Are you ready for takeoff? In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Hello and welcome to the EDUCA DPS Podcast, where we inform families and connect communities. My name is Javier Ibarra. I am your host of the EDUCA Podcast in English, and today we have a repeat guest. Our topic is bullying prevention here at DPS. Wes, welcome to the EDUCA studios. As you noticed, we have new furniture and you're a repeat guest. How many times have you been on the show now?
Yes. Hey, Javier. So Wes Ogburn. My pronouns are he, him, his. My divas are Bjork, Beyonce, and Dolly Parton.
Okay.
And yes, it is true. This is like a new space. So I've been here about 3 or 4 times. And yeah, you guys have a new setup here.
I think one more time and you get a punch card so you can get like a free coffee.
Ready.
Wes, what is the most gratifying thing about the work that you do here at DPS?
This work to me really connects me to my own heart and experience. And so I think about little Wes as a young kid who was quite different and unique, I think, in the school setting as a queer boy. And so this work for me connects me to being that person and working on creating that space where little Wes could be the queer boy that he was and is.
I appreciate you saying that. And I have a follow-up question here. For the first time in our studio, for those listening in, but those watching us can see, we have some roses here on the table. Can you tell me, what is this, the symbolism behind the roses and why you brought them here today?
Yeah, so DPS's vision is that every learner thrives. And when I think about that vision and apply it to the work that I'm leading and working on in partnership with folks, is that our schools are a place of such belonging that we bloom to the fullest, highest expressions of who we are. So the conditions are such that we can be the unique people, individuals that we are.
I like that. I like
Free
that
from harm.
So thank you for bringing our first props here on the show.
Oh, nice.
Yes. For our audience, I want to give them a little bit about the topic today. So starting off with how Denver Public Schools prioritizes the safety and inclusivity by addressing bullying through restorative practices and comprehensive prevention. This is very important. We empower students to report concerns anonymously via Safe to Tell, which is a very powerful platform, and thus ensuring every child feels valued, supported, and free to succeed. So that's a bit about our topic. So I want to get straight into this. Why should we care about bullying prevention work? Because I know from our statistics that bullying is actually down. Yeah. So does that mean we're done? Does that mean the job is done and we can move on to other things? Tell me about that.
Okay. Yeah. So in some areas it's down and in some areas it's stable, but we're hopefully trending downward as we continue to do this work. I think it's important because as a school district focused on and prioritizing safe and welcoming schools, bullying prevention work is a part of that. So you mentioned restorative practices. We also do social emotional learning. We also do a practice called positive behavioral intervention support, which is PBIS, or another way of saying we're going to get clear on our values and the culture we want to see. And we're going to teach those values and reinforce those values.
I think it's important you mentioned this, but talking about culture, which leads me to my next question. What does culture and climate have to do with the work that we're doing here specifically around bullying prevention?
Yeah, it is the bulk of the work. So it's creating the conditions where bullying doesn't live. It's creating the conditions where academic achievement is possible, where safety is the norm, where we celebrate diversity and the differences that we bring to our school environment.
This is what makes up the DPS experience. This is what sets us apart and why we are able to bring a high quality public education within a great learning environment. Because as we know, if students have a great learning environment, they're able to thrive. That's the whole purpose behind our mission statement. Wes, my next question for you, and I'm want to geek out about the data here, but what are the current trends around bullying, specifically here in DPS, and maybe give us a wider picture of how that compares or what that looks like to the rest of the country?
Yeah, so we actually track bullying trends through what's called our student voice, our TUVOS survey. And so the good news is we've discovered that in our high schools and our middle schools, we are trending a lot lower than national averages. So in middle schools, we have 16% of students, 16% of students who have said they've experienced bullying. And in our high schools, we have about 5% of kids who have said that they've experienced bullying. And this compares to 20% on national averages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have 5% less in our middle schools, and then we have, what is that, 10%?
10, 15,
less.
Yeah.
10, 15. Yeah, exactly. In our high schools. We are seeing that in our elementary schools, we're trending at nationally, like national averages for about 20% of students who've reported that they've been or have experienced bullying. And another unique data point that we have captured is that our LGBTQ plus students have reported that they're more likely to have been the target of bullying, and they're also more likely to report that they don't feel as safe at school.
Interesting trends.
Yeah.
Interesting trends. There's hope, right? There's good news, but there's opportunities for improvement, right? Because 5% is not 0%.
Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing?
I want to ask, because we set up the foundation, right, of where we are and how we gauge and how we compare to the rest of the country. But let's talk about our methodology. Let's talk about the boots on the ground. What are we doing to engage? What are we already doing to engage this sort of work at the school level?
So I think of 3 primary practices that we have across our district. The first one being the Positive Behavioral Intervention Support, PBIS, or it's a fancy way of saying we have established what our values are, and each school sort of establishes this is what we value, and this is what those values look like in real time. This is how we show that we value or have these values. So things like community, safety, equity, those would be values connected to bullying prevention work. And then also social emotional learning is another practice, strategy, approach, philosophy, where we're teaching students and our staff social emotional learning concepts such as empathy, friendship, how to self-regulate, interpersonal skills.
Very important. That self-regulate, I think, is the core concept of the tools of the mind that happens at our ECE level, right? And so they're learning how to self-regulate at such a young age, and because it's all about bullying prevention, right? It's all about social emotional learning, and if we can start from the beginning and teach kids how to play, but in a way that works for everyone, that's how they self-regulate. So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, and the other one is restorative practices too. So emphasizing that school is our community, the importance of being connected to your school, how to solve conflicts peacefully. So those are 3 prevention practices, approaches that DPS uses.
I'm interested in the last one, restorative practices. Can you kind of give me maybe a hypothetical or an example of what that looks like? Because restorative practices sounds like a term that I haven't really come into contact with a lot, and especially if I was from the outside looking in, what does that look like? Just so for our listeners to kind of get a visual here.
Yeah, shout out to Marcus Spearman. So this is his team and his work, but the idea is that school is a community that you feel connected to and that you value. And so in the community, if you feel connected to it and value it, we think about when harm is caused and what role what might I play in causing that harm, taking responsibility for that, learning how to solve a conflict peacefully. So the emphasis, I think, for restorative practice is that we have a community that we value and that it matters to us. We feel connected to this. So I want to participate in a way that is nourishing and supportive of that community. When something goes wrong, I can take accountability for that if I had some part in that. Or if I've been wronged, I'm able and safe enough to share that there's harm that has been caused for me.
So is it safe to say that part of restorative practices is ownership or accountability within our DPS values? Because when I think about if I was part of the community, and I am, but, putting myself from the outside in, if you have some stake in it, right, and you say, well, this is my community, and therefore I'm responsible for the good or bad that I put into it. And so I want to make sure that everyone gets a nice learning environment. And in turn, I also want a nice learning environment, right? Because it goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Wes, I want to shift gears a little bit here into social media. Very popular, very important. When we talk about this every time, what role does social media play in bullying here at Denver Public Schools?
Yeah, so in the bullying prevention realm, social work realm, we think of social media as a location. So it's a behavior that's happening in a specific space. And when I think about social media, I think of it as actually a neutral tool in the world. It gives us what we put into it. And with that, we see sort of the best of who we are and, unfortunately, the worst. And so social media plays a role in that it becomes like a space or location where bullying can take place or happen. And the big push that I think about and the education around social media that I think about is having us be the bosses of the social media space, creating the experience that we want to have, putting out the podcasts and the information that we want to hear, like our art, our music, our hobbies, what we're learning about, our math, our reading. And so focusing on creating the social media as a reflection of the really good things about who we are, and that can include comedy and right now I've got like little babies that like make me laugh. I watch, clips of that and animals.
Yeah.
And so I think when I think of prevention, it's like, let's put us back in our seat of power with social media, and really create it as a tool that serves us instead of a tool that separates.
I want to highlight something that you said, which is that social media is more of an environment, a location, versus the cause or the engine behind of what's happening, right? I look at it as it's no different than a playground.
Right? Yeah.
Traditionally, a playground is very happy, very, a lot of fun happens, birthday parties, what have you, at a playground, right? But it's also a place where unfortunate things can happen, such as bullying.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important for us to as a community to recognize it for what it is, which is it's another environment. So, our message to families is to make sure that we understand that and understand that because it is an environment, we have some sort of conversations with our students about it being an environment and about how we interact in there. My next question for you, and I think this is very key because it's going to set up something that I really want to talk about, which is around behaviors. What interventions are in place for students who are exhibiting bullying behavior? So we've talked about necessarily the survivor aspect, right? One side of the bullying, right? The target, as you mentioned. But let's talk about the students who are exhibiting the bullying behavior.
Yeah. So school is a great time of learning and developmentally speaking, a time where our brains can actually change quite dramatically. So someone who's engaging in bullying behavior, we're looking at what is the cause, the driving force behind that. And usually it's going to be a learned behavior or it is they're gaining access to something, or they might be avoiding something. And so we take that as an opportunity to shift the behavior. And I think about it as an opening, an opportunity to understand what's going on. A lot of times hurt people hurt other people, and work towards
Hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What a message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hate can't drive out hate. Only love can do that. And so that's where we're kind of bringing in some consciousness, also some maybe structure to change the behavior. Yeah, so you're looking at some like potential mental health support, and then disciplinary action insofar as it will change the behavior. So that's something to keep in mind that's really important is what we're doing changing the behavior?
Wes, I have a scenario for you. So let's say there's a student who has been exhibiting bullying behavior. Is that student now labeled a bully for life, and therefore they cannot be anything else than a bully? Is that what society would say? What is our stance, the DPS stance, on that particular situation, on that scenario?
So it's someone who's engaging in bullying behavior would be a helpful, spacious way of describing a pattern of behavior. So it's moving away from you are a bully into you are engaging in bullying behavior. And that creates a bit more space and distance. So yeah, because labeling can
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if we kind of create a distinction between the two, that you're engaging in the behavior versus you are that, there's more space for us to change the behavior.
I was recently at my old elementary school, Barnum, shout out Barnum Bears, and I was having a conversation with the principal there, and I said something along the lines of, I used to be a bad student or that situation. She goes, no. She goes, you were a good student who might have done some bad thing.
Beautiful.
And she corrected me, and I'm a grown man, and I loved it because she corrected me, because that way I don't go around saying that about myself.
Totally.
But also I don't go around saying that about others. Right. And so what a powerful moment. Took 15 seconds to have that conversation, but I thought it was so interesting. Shout out to the principal at Barnum, because it adds to the work that we're doing with social emotional learning.
Yeah. It puts you back in your seat too, of like, I've made choices. I can also make different choices.
Yeah.
Right. And not who I am. It's that I may be engaging in a pattern of behavior that I can change.
Right. And just to clear the air here, my bad behavior was I would always talk. I was an talkative person. I was always trying to, and so
I got in trouble for that day.
Yeah. So I was very disruptive in the classroom. That's what I meant. But I'm glad she changed my mindset on that, because like, is that necessarily a bad kid? No, that's just a student who likes to talk. Right.
Yeah.
And now I have a career in it, hosting a podcast.
So, here we are talking.
Exactly. What's my final question for you?
Yeah.
Do you have a message for parents? Do you have something that you want to say to them, advise them on, give them resources, anything like that?
Yeah. So from a prevention standpoint, thinking about making your home the safe place, the place that students can come to feel like they can be themselves, they can talk to you. And so I would say that is probably priority. When our homes are safe, when our homes are the place that we can go to, it's what we call a protective factor. And so it can buffer from a lot of the other unhelpful aspects, or, some of the stuff that comes at us in the world. We know that home is safe. It's a huge protective factor. So really thinking about creating the conditions at home of safety. And then if there is a problem, reaching out to anyone at the school first to report, hey, that this has been going on with my student, letting folks at the school know. And then I would also say, if your kid is the bully, you got to tell them to knock it off. So we need that parent partnership, and, be willing to recognize perhaps my student may be engaging in bullying behavior, and take action to stop that behavior.
Right, because there's a fine line between a joke and then bullying.
Yeah.
So if someone's joking around at the expense of another student, that is considered bullying behavior.
Yeah, having conversations around what is like your standard
Like
or your
routine.
value,
Yeah.
your values. Yeah. And what when teasing might move into bullying. So having conversations about what bullying behavior is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, always a pleasure having you on
Thanks.
the podcast, and we look forward to having you many more times to talk about trends and new things that your office and your team is working on. So I just want to thank you for coming on to the show today.
Yes. Great to be here. Thank you, Javier.
Thank you. Well, friends and families, this concludes our EDUCA DPS podcast for today. Again, I want to give a big thank you to our guest, Wes Ogburn, for sharing this important information. And I'd like to ask all of you listening to please help share this content if you found this helpful, if you think someone in your immediate circle might find some value in this. They can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Denver Public Schools Plus, where you can find all of our EDUCA content as well as all of our multimedia productions. And if you are a consumer of podcasts, you can also find us on all the major platforms. Just search for the Denver Public Schools Podcast Network. Our gratitude goes out to the entire communications department here at DPS. And we want to give a big thank you to our proud superintendent of Denver Public Schools, Dr. Alex Marrero, for his continued support to the EDUCA DPS podcast and all of our multimedia productions. Don't forget to tune into our EDUCA DPS podcast, where the learning journey continues. And remember to tell your children more often, I believe in you and I know you can do it. My name is Javier Ibarra. Until next time.